Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Abisoye Ajayi-Akinfolarin. Today we're going to have an awesome conversation with a CNN hero, Abisoye Ajayi-Akinfolarin, the founder of Girls Coding and Pearls Africa Foundation. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Abisoye Ajayi-Akinfolarin and I'm here with Abisoye Ajayi-Akinfolarin, the founder of Girls Coding and Pearls Africa Foundation. How are you?
I'm good, thank
You're
you.
Good. It's really good to have you here, and I really want to talk because you're doing so much when it comes to helping young girls and helping women become economically independent and be able to find avenues in which they can help themselves. Because obviously we know that we live in a very patriarchal society. But what led to that? What gave you the inspiration to want to do this?
In a nutshell, I think my faith in God really helped. And it's still helping me till date. It's one thing to be from a particular background, it's one thing to have a story, it's one thing to be economically independent, knowing that you were not born that way. It's another thing to be able to connect the dots to know what to do with that. So I got the idea when I was fasting and praying, actually, because I was asking God, what am I supposed to do with my life? I mean, there were certain milestones I think I got. And I thought when I get those milestones, you know, I'll get to that position where I'll say, I've arrived, I'm on top of the world. Those things didn't happen. You know, I made my first digit. I got a US visa, which was so difficult to get. I became a graduate. Everything was at different stages, and they were not fulfilling. So I didn't get that thing that I wanted, so I started praying, you know, and while fasting one day, when I heard that, I was like, it's a joke. I'm not going to run an NGO, for God's sake. Yeah,
and for me, that's one of the things I want to talk about, because you can talk about it, you get an idea from praying and fasting, and like you said, an NGO. When you look at things, you start to think about the economic viability of these ideas. Where does your faith really play a role in making sure you have the boldness to do the things that seem somehow crazy or unrealistic sometimes?
Well, I think it starts from a position of, you know, being able to hear from God and to know that when I'm praying, when I'm fasting, it's not an activity. I'm doing it for clarity purposes. I'm doing it for the ability to make the right decisions and stuff like that. So there's been different stages with God. So it's not like it's my first experience with God. And even though I struggled with it a bit, despite the fact that I was fasting, you would have expected that my, you know, senses would be accurate. And I was fighting it. I was like, I'm not going to do this thing. But I kept fasting and praying, and the same thing kept coming back. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's a risk. I'll take it, but I'm taking it on God, because I didn't have a trust fund to run it. And it's not as if my parents left me anything to say, go and start NGO. We give you this some amount of money. So I was like, well, God is on you. We mustn't lack anything. We shouldn't look for funds. We shouldn't beg. We shouldn't do ABCD. So we started.
Okay, so like, I want to talk about it because obviously it's one thing when you get godly direction, but then you often have to have a passion and a heart for the thing that you're doing. Like you said, it comes from, yes, your faith, but also you've had personal experiences, the journey you've gone through. Can we talk a bit about your personal experiences?
Oh my God, when it comes to this personal experience thing, I shy away from it a lot because it's everywhere. I Googled my name recently. I think I can't remember what I was looking for. And I checked news, and I saw roughly 1,000 links that has to do with my name. And I was like, what? Has it gotten this far? But I'll share a bit. I lost my mom when I was 3. I left home when I was 15. I've lived with different people. The struggle for education was crazy. I spent 4 years trying to gain admission into a university. I went basically everywhere in Nigeria looking for admission. I remember sleeping on the floor just trying to write post-UM in Kogi State. I'd gone to JOS. So it's like after everything, and I'm like, I need to get admission because that's the only way I can have a voice tomorrow. So I needed to go to school. I needed to be educated. I tried everything possible. There were times I would go to University of Lagos and I would be checking the notice board every day looking for my name. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, there'll be complimentary list coming out. And I will go back again, there's nothing. Eventually, I tried to get a part-time program that wasn't working too, because to be honest with you, let's be frank, it's really about who you know. And I didn't really know anyone. So my struggle for education was by myself, looking for this thing myself. It is not like my father knows you, my mother knows you, so as a result, they've helped me before, come get this.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that. So then someone told me about distance learning, which is like an open university kind of thing. So I said, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. But I got that after 4 years. But it's also a good thing that I wasn't just sitting down and moping.
Yeah.
While the 4 years, was passing, I did a couple of certifications. I got an opportunity to volunteer at an IT audit firm, from volunteering to becoming an intern. Then from there, grew to an associate consultant, started delivering courses in ICT and auditing. So everything came together, because even though I felt everyone has gone ahead of me,
Yeah.
I couldn't even face my friends that we went to school together, like, oh, this is the school I'm going to, and I'm like, I'm nowhere.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where my self-esteem was zero, and I couldn't even look at anybody in the face, so I started running away from people, because I felt my life wasn't together. And I don't know what it is now in the world, but back in the days, if you're not in school, you're a nobody. So I realized my life was going to that point whereby I'll be a nobody, and I didn't want to be a nobody. So even though I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know what the future was going to be, I kept on, persistent. So I did the IT audit thing. I combined work, school, business, everything at the same time, jumping buses from one end of Lagos to the next. And that was actually the journey. And as I'm saying, that in all of this, it's not that easy to say because I did ABCD, as a result, I should run an NGO. If I didn't hear from God to say, this is what you should do, I wouldn't have even started in the first place.
Okay. You talked about going through periods, especially when you have the fear of feeling like if you don't do this, you don't go to school, you'd be nothing. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you get over? What's the process for you? What was the process like for you getting past that and getting through those challenges? Because there's no pretending that those things are, and then there's no easy routes.
I think the IT audit firm, which is EDP Audit and Secretary Associates, really helped a lot. I became a problem solver, solution developer, and I think my confidence actually stepped up. Despite the fact that I felt the school I'm in right now, I'm not even sure what kind of certificate I'll get, because everybody kept saying that the certificate you're going to get, so and so will be written on it. People know that you didn't go to the right school, you didn't get this done. As a result, you're not going to get a job tomorrow. And I went back to God. I said, I must not look for a job. So because you've sent me on this journey, I mustn't look for a job. And to be honest with you, I can't remember ever applying for a job anywhere. I employ people actually right now. So in solving problems with computer programming is one of the places you get to whereby you feel good when you're able to debug some certain lines of commands. Let me put it that way. So that grew over time, and being able to stand in front of the what's it called? Certain clients were coming to the organizations from telecommunications, financial sector, and oil and gas sector, and I was taking some of these classes without a school degree. Wow. So I think the confidence actually started from that area, to know that you can actually get somewhere without being in the four walls of a school, because really, what is education? Transfer of knowledge and the application of the same thing. So that was what I was getting there. But I said I needed to get this thing so that when people are asking me tomorrow, I can show you your degree.
Yeah, I know that, especially
and I went to school.
We love certificates.
We really like certificates in Nigeria. So I can show it to you. But I knew that thing I was doing, again, I didn't know where it was going. Yeah. But I just kept at it. Because at some point, I get admission to a school, but I'd already started as a volunteer in that place. It wasn't rosy. It's not the finest of places. I mean, we didn't have air condition. We had books like this that we read. Today, people have courses they do online. You just need internet. You need your laptop. You get things done. Then you had over 2,000 pages, and you need to finish into 2 weeks. So there was intense training right there. You're being trained. It's like a school. It's like work. And when I stand in front of people and I talk for maybe about 6 hours transferring knowledge, and they can get it. And these are people who probably have masters, and I was barely in school then. I couldn't even tell them that, oh, this is the school I'm going and this kind of course I'm doing and because they'd be like, they can't connect it. You're standing in front of me, speaking this good English, and letting me know that I can recover stolen funds in my organization using this software, and you're not in school. It wouldn't have made sense to them.
Yeah.
So I don't even talk about the fact that I'm looking for admission. I just continue in that line. So that was actually the process that helped. And to be honest with you, it's the same thing we're not giving girls now. Yeah. That regardless of your background, if you can follow certain processes, you can actually get somewhere.
And I think it's very important. We're going to take time to talk a little bit more about how we start to adjust what is relevant and what is not relevant in the education system, and then specifically with girls coding. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. So make sure you tune in and watch us after the break. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Adeolu Adefarasin and I'm still here with Abisoye. And we're having so much interesting conversation for me about the education system. And it's something that's so important in understanding that if the education system the way it is right now isn't working, then how do you start to change it? What do you need to start focusing on? We know the world is getting more entrepreneurial. We know the world is going more towards media and technology and AI. And so how do we start to adapt the education system to fit so that the next generation that are coming out are equipped for where the world is actually going? Mm-hmm.
How can the graduates in Nigeria compete globally? It is the mindset, is the frame of mind we need to have. Because to be honest with you, it's about the youth, it's about the young people. If you want to change Nigeria, you invest in the young people. How do you invest in the young people when you're not investing the right thing or you're not even investing at all? So then you don't stand to compete globally.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's one thing that we have to kind of look at because it's so interesting you focus on girls and teaching them coding and giving them the ability to do things that is in the direction where the world is going. And how do you gain that trust from the people that you're doing the work with when we're in a sector where youth are almost being seen as a liability? People are not being investing in them, people are not willing to invest in them. So how do you make sure you're getting the trust from the people that are supporting and helping make sure that this works?
This is a beautiful story because I mean, a lot of people ask me how we started. I mean, they're wondering if we just got some buck of money and we just started like that. Some thought, you know, to run an NGO, you must be rich. And I had to tell them that I started from zero. Zero to the point whereby we have partners actually reaching out to say, how can we work together? But it didn't start like that. I say you're first your own PR, you're first your own media. Yeah. There was a lot of begging parents to let their girls learn. Many of the parents actually told me openly, I said, leave our girls, teach our boys. And they said, well, our boys are more important to us, leave our girls. And the moment you leave girls, poverty or the vicious cycle of poverty continues. Yeah. Because they are the ones you now find that they have 10 children and yet you can't even take care of one. Then what happens to the society? So we're trying to stop that cycle of poverty now, the vicious cycle of poverty. How can it be stopped now? And it is really about the right education. So for partners, for instance, when we started with a lot of in-kind support. We reached out to people, reached out to, for instance, Budget, a bigger NGO to work with us. When they give you their logo or they do one or two things with you, we started with their boardroom, for instance, on Saturdays. So it was like a one-off class. We did Makoko for maybe like two times. And I was like, you want to teach people and you're teaching them where they live, it won't work. Change the environment, change their view. So I spoke with a friend of mine who runs Budget, and it was like, oh, my boardroom is free on weekends, start. But I'm going that route just to let you know how we started and how we are where we are today, where we don't have presence in a couple of states in Nigeria. It was from there and showcasing your track record. Show people what you've done before. Maybe with a phone, you took pictures. Maybe with your phone, you are taking videos. Show people what you are doing, and they want to join you. Yeah. For instance, the shirt our girls wear, we make sure they don't wear what they wear at home. Now, they look attractive because they wear a uniform. And I saw, a lot of rich people reached out and said, I want my girls to be there. So we charge those ones, and we use that money to teach other people. So those were the areas we started. Then U.S. Embassy came up at some point. They partnered with us, and we are still, in partnership today. Union Bank too is there, and a couple of other people showing up now.
It's very important. I think one of the things that you mentioned, which is a huge roadblock that you expect in changing the mindset of the culture that we're in, is parents saying, forget the girls, teach the boys. How do we get over that? Because it's such a major thing where you realize you're having in fact, more than having the people that are able to have influence and drive and start to impact community because we have more women than we do men. So therefore, if you're trying to completely ignore the larger sense of the population, what forward growth can there be?
There are times we shop for their parents just to make their girls learn. When I say shop, we just buy. What do they need at home? We'll buy. But how many people do we need to do that for, especially when we need to scale? Yeah. If we're looking at training thousands of people, do we need to be buying things for all the parents? Yeah. So most of the time is enlightenment. Yeah. So we sit down, we talk to them.
That becomes the conversation, because if it's, like you said, how many people do you shop for? How many people do you have conversations with even? How do you start to change and impact the mindset within the culture as opposed to just within small groups? And are there any plans towards that, the ideas of how you change the mindset on a bigger scale?
Well, I'll take it back a bit. When we started, especially when we're stepping into Makoko community, I realized that there are 3 levels of engagement we had to do. Before we got in through 5 people. Someone that knew someone that knew someone that knew someone till the last person. Then we realized that the elders speak a particular language, parents speak a different language, the girls speak a different language. Yeah. So we have to speak to everybody differently. So when we have meetings, we don't just pack everybody. You can't speak to them like that. But, right now, we know that we can't continue in that same, the same place we started is not the same place we have to, continue to scale. So now we are reaching out. Government is reaching out. We are reaching out to government to now go to public schools, because that's where you find them more and you have access to them. And you cut away community engagement in a way. And you still engage community differently, but it won't be as time consuming, to be honest. Yeah. But you scale better when you partner with government. Yeah. But at the same time, we try to work with government before it didn't work. And now it's different.
There's also a bit of a clash
sometimes. Yes, but now it's different. Some are actually reaching out saying, come and set up in my state. Some we are reaching out to so that we can go through the public school education system and see how we can set up, different centers, or how we can just access these people easily. Because it's one thing for you to want to do the work, it's another thing for you to get the people you want to work with. Yeah.
And one thing is, you can start some of these things off. How do we talk about maintaining it? Because, like you said, it comes with equipment and all these kind of things. And we find often in the education system, in the public sector, we have struggle for maintaining the stuff that the products they have, the equipment that they have. So how do you work on that, creating a longevity for this stuff?
Well, we have to go to the schools first to see what the lab looks like. And you can't leave the lab open 24/7, because when people destroy stuff, what happens tomorrow? We've had issues like that in the office where things we use money to buy gets destroyed. But you also understand that it's the cultural system of the people you are working with, that you're training, and they don't even see it as bad. Now you now have to teach. So what I'll say is, we need a maintenance culture to start with. And is that something we really have? It's something we need to bring in. It's something we need to imbibe. If we have a maintenance culture, you can maintain anything, anywhere. Well, you're working with young people and they play a lot. Have people monitoring these things. Set them up, have people monitoring them so that they don't get destroyed. These things are expensive.
How has the vision changed from when you started to now? Because things, obviously, you find that you usually start small and they start to expand themselves, almost out of, sometimes not even within your control.
Well, has it really changed? Not really, because I still have the core focus, which is giving girls skills, functional skills, viable skills for the purpose of economic independence, and of course making girls creators of technology and not mere users. So why should you be with your phone 24 hours and you can't even create one thing on that phone? It is one thing that can actually transform your life tomorrow. Why waste it? Okay. So I don't think that has changed much. If there's anything, it's having the right people with you, so that as you're expanding and you're going to states or countries in Africa, having them do what you can do.
Yeah, that's very good, because I think one of the things becomes, like, as you expand, you find things, obviously it becomes different pressures in terms of sustenance and all those kind of things. So what has that been like, especially for you? Has the attention changed since you got things like CNN Heroes nomination? How has that affected the work personally?
Well, I think I'll say on a positive note, because when it's so funny, people reach out, people bombard you probably first day, second day as your video is going viral. Even initially, we were entertaining everybody. Then I got to know along the way that at some point, the noise will settle, the real people will show forth. Because people will reach out, come to our office, let's talk, let's talk. Some just want pictures to say, oh, this person who is on on international scene, I know this person.
Yeah.
In a way, that can be a time waster when you have work to do.
Yeah.
So we went for meetings, we saw everybody. Eventually, some will tell you that something came up, we can't work together now, and you're already, banking on them to scale, to expand. And you're like, okay, no problem, moving on. At this point, I know what it feels like to be discouraged. I know what it feels like to be depressed over the work. I know what it feels like to want to give up. And in all those periods, we didn't even have any form of international media on us, not now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the people reaching out, we use them to expand. We work with, we use our partnerships now, the new partnerships we have, use them to expand, especially for our girls. Everybody see them differently. They see themselves differently. Many of them are getting scholarships to change from public school to private school. So directly, that is the core, because I feel the kind of education you receive matters. And these are the kind of conversations we have with them. What do you want in life? What's one thing you want? Most of them, they just tell you that, I just want my school to change from a public to private. And you ask them why, and they give you some crazy reasons, telling you that there are times I don't understand this thing, and I ask my teacher, and they say, well, I don't know. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So they know what they want, because besides, we teach all sorts. Yeah. We teach esteem. We teach you must be vocal, talk. Yeah. What is wrong? What is going on? What are you facing? Besides just, facing the computer and just coding. So they know what they want, and they're moving forward.
That's an important thing, because you said it's beyond just the teaching of coding. Because how do you then decide girls that you take on in your teaching and girls that you don't, when it comes to people's passion for the work, people's desire for more? How do you start to gauge between the people that you invest your time in?
Well, when we started, it's so funny. When we started, we didn't even know where we're going. We didn't even know if it's like, when you're taking a risk, like, I'm just doing it because God said I should do it. Yeah. There was no formal education to know what to do, what not to do. So we just kept our hands open. Everybody, you're welcome. Until we saw 17-year-olds that can't even spell their names. We're like, okay, where do we start? Yeah. Like, seriously? Am I supposed to, then we start ABC for a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old. Where does this, we let them stay for a while, because there's also the thing with the community where they're coming from. It's a different country. It's a different government in this community. So you have to find a way to just let them go, maybe after doing some certificate courses, But along the way, now it's different. The screening, selection process is different. There's a mathematical talent hunt that we're doing for all public schools in Lagos State now. Yeah. So we use that to bring them in. Your love for mathematics, because it's really about the brain.
Yeah, okay. So how can potential partners, people that know about, that have girls that need help in coding, how can they reach out to you? How can they find out how they can do more?
Well, our website is www.perosafrica.org, www.perosafrica.org.
Yes.
And our number is there, email address is there. We pick our calls every time.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have any social media platforms and give people their Instagram,
Facebook? Peros Africa too, for all of them.
Peros Africa too?
Peros Africa. Just Peros Africa.
Okay. All right, thank you very, very much. It's been awesome having you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back after the break. Make sure you tune in. Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Adeolu, and we just had an awesome conversation with Abisoye. And one of the takeaways that I took was definitely the fact that as much as you might be waiting for different things to take off, get into school, get into university, whatever it is, keep on investing in yourself in the meantime. Keep on learning new skills and investing in yourself. I hope you had an amazing time. And make sure that you follow us on all our social media platforms at HOTM TV and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you join us again next week. Thank you.